Major League Soccer's playoff calendar kicks off tonight. The wild card round of the 2025 Major League Soccer playoffs kick off tonight. Chicago versus Orlando and Portland versus RSL to start us all off.
Yeah, here's the bracket. I know we talked about this when it was confirmed after decision day on Monday, but now we know when these games are happening. We'll get to the actual schedule in a second because this is Major League Soccer, Rob. So you can't just talk about, wow, I can't wait to see that team play that team, and that's going to be quite a battle, and who's going to make it through to the finals. You got to talk about when the games are happening, how the schedule works, the format. Is best of three the right way to go when we get to those second round matchups? I mean, it is just it's always that with Major League Soccer. Now, I'm going to enjoy this. I like the MLS Cup playoffs. This is the most wonderful time of the year that takes 2.5 months to complete. I am thrilled that the MLS Cup playoffs are here, but there are those things. Okay, here's the schedule for the next couple days up through the end of the week. Tonight, as you said, Chicago, Orlando, taking place at SeatGeek Stadium. I think we've established, I think it was producer Jenny who actually dropped this knowledge on Monday that we didn't mention on the air, that there's something in the contract that the Fire have with the Chicago Bears, or obviously the main tenants of Soldier Field, that doesn't allow them to play a certain number of days after the Bears are there or something. There's some requirement.
I think it's within 4 days of a game at Soldier Field.
So there you go. So that stinks. I mean, can we just say how stinky that is? And I know Chicago's working on building their stadium. I don't know if there are shovels in the ground or we're even close to imagining what that place will look like. We have shown you the renderings. They are beautiful. They are stunning renderings there in Chicago. But right now they have to do this weird bouncing between different stadiums. So they'll play that game at SeatGeek. Portland and Salt Lake at Providence Park. That one's a wild one. That could go either way. I don't know that you can pick a winner there. So then we get a game on Friday, Miami and Nashville, first match of their best of three series. Great, grand, Chase Stadium, Fort Lauderdale, Inter Miami, Lionel Messi, 29 goals, all the stuff. Sam Surridge, who had a great season as well. And these teams just played recently. And then we don't have a game on Saturday. We just don't have a game on Saturday. We just skip over Saturday. Why are we skipping over Saturday, Rob? I don't know the answer to that. Do you know the answer to that?
I think we speculated that it could be to avoid conflict with the college football schedule. I mean, Saturdays are chocked full for like 13 hours worth of college football, but the alternative on Sunday, NFL football is no less popular than the college game.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on there. As you can see on Sunday, we don't know who Philadelphia will play as the top seed in the East, and obviously the Supporter Shield winners. They'll get the winner of that matchup between Chicago and Orlando, and then San Diego on Sunday in the nightcap will get the winner of Portland and Real Salt Lake. Vancouver, Dallas. We just saw Dallas go to Vancouver and save their season with the result up there. So that there's some interesting things here. And the other part is, and we're just beginning this, Rob, so I don't want to get this is maybe for down the road, but the other part of the MLS Cup playoff format and schedule is because they added those extra games via the best of three series, which we all speculated was a matter of inventory for Apple TV, Major League Soccer's television partner. We now have, and this has actually been true for a long time, even without this, we have this gap. Like we got a big gap in the playoffs because of the international window. So we'll play games all the way through. Monday, November 3rd is Seattle against Minnesota. And then we take a giant break, right? Like because of the international and as I said, the reason it takes 2.5 months to do this or something thereabouts, because the final is on December 7th. I think is the final of the MLS season, and it's October 22nd. Like between now and then, I'm going to have
to parse the details. December 5th.
December 5th. My apologies. But regardless, I'm gonna have my Christmas decorations up. I'm gonna have winterized my home by then. I haven't done that yet. Whatever that is. Like it just stinks. It just stinks. And I would prefer one-off games because I do think that ratchets up the drama of it. We'll see if this MLS Cup playoff season delivers. It is worth noting that MLS and Apple have decided to eliminate the MLS Season Pass paywall for Apple TV subscribers. So if you have an Apple TV subscription, you will have access to the MLS Cup playoffs, regardless of if you paid for MLS Season Pass. Now, I don't have an Apple TV subscription, but I did pay for MLS Season Pass. So I'm good to go that way. But this is obviously a bid on the part of Apple and MLS to expand the reach of the playoffs, with notably the greatest player of all time participating in the East.
To build off your point at the top, when you're saying that you can't just go into this saying, I can't wait for the playoffs, you kind of have to parse through what the format is. And part of that is a little bit disappointing because we don't have baked in traditions. Like, I know traditions is talking about hopping around the November window for the internationals and whatnot, because this format is only the second year of this format. And with the international calendar changing next year, this format won't be the same next year because the October and November windows are combining. So I'm not sure where that will, does that poop in the pool for this sort of playoff plan? But
Yeah,
that's something to
yeah.
keep in mind, because the baking in a tradition or routines, annual routines, like I know in football, people have like the game before Thanksgiving is I get to go with our family. We go to a game or this or that. Any sort of baked in traditions are going to get kind of flown out the window and or have never really had the time to percolate and to form those together. I remember being at, you were talking about Christmas and the MLS Cup final. I remember literally being at a downtown cute Christmas craft fair and peeking through the window of a bar to watch the MLS Cup final while the family was doing the pictures with Santa out in the snowy street. So I don't know if those two things jive. Maybe that's the tradition we bake in, but
No.
moving
Well,
forward,
okay.
there's no
Here's the problem.
cohesiveness year
Here's
to
the
year.
problem. Here's the problem, Rob. You're speaking to a lack of tradition that's been an effect of Major League Soccer constantly change. No, there's I do think in the general sense, Major League Soccer has been wise in its 30 plus years now to be adaptable, to be able to pivot on a moment's notice when it feels like they need to do something different. I don't think you could have picked a path way back in 1996 and we're going to be on this path until the end of time and we're never going to change anything. I don't think you could have done that. Now, the problem obviously is when you allow for those changes that you might need to make because strategically it's better for your burgeoning league in a country where soccer is not the number one sport, you then create a scenario, an environment where you can make too many changes, where it becomes very easy to fall into a trap of, well, we got to change it. It's not working perfectly. Oh, let's do this. Let's do that. Oh, we had that playoff format last year. Well, whatever. It didn't work. Let's change it again. And as you said, the knock-on effect there is that you do not establish patterns, rhythms, and traditions for sports fans who are inclined to those things. And I will throw this bomb into the middle of the room. We expect Major League Soccer to change its calendar, Rob, to flip their calendar over. Now, ultimately, that may be better in the long term, right? It's better for the business of transferring players, or it's better because the playoff season is out from the shadow of American football, which looms so large. We're talking about maybe not playing Saturday games the first week of the playoff season because there's so much college football on to compete with, and that just doesn't make sense. If you are in May, June, or whatever, you don't have to deal with this, but that will create another problem of forcing people to change their rhythms and their patterns and their habits. And I don't know, is that something that's going to go over with an American soccer population that have chosen to dive into MLS despite all its flaws? Are you suddenly pulling the rug out from underneath them?
We shall see how this all plays out, but MLS Cup for 2025 edition, wildcard games start tonight. Chicago versus Orlando, Portland versus RSL.